Most people who use astrology are checking Mercury retrograde dates and are wondering if it's a good time to launch something. And my guest today, she works with a very different approach. So for Yolanda McAdam, a birth chart is not a personality summit. It's a map of initiation showing where the soul agreed to grow, where earned authority is being forged, and what is actually being asked of you right now. So Yolanda is an astrologer, writer, and transformation coach based in Vancouver, Canada. And her practice sits at the intersection of depth astrology, somatic awareness, and Kabbalistic soul mapping. And this conversation today is about what astrology can actually tell you about your brand, your business, and the threshold you're standing at. There's a version of your brand that doesn't need to be pushed. It pulls. I'm Judith K. Ritz, founder of the Spirit Brand Academy, and this is the Magnetic Brand Podcast. Every week, we go deep on what actually makes a brand magnetic through human design, astrology, and archetypes. In solo episodes and real conversations with women who've built something that feels like them. Let's get into it.
Thank you for having me, Judith.
Thank you for being here, and I'm great we see each other again after already having our call a couple of weeks ago. That was very inspiring and very, I had some light bulb moments in there. So I thought I need to have you on my podcast and talk a little bit about what was your path actually? How did you get to where you're now? And, how did you develop to do the work that you do? So, and I just want to dive right in. I have a couple of questions here. So you describe a birth chart not as a personality summary, but as a map of initiation. So can you tell me and everybody who's listening a little bit about what that actually means for someone who comes to you for a reading?
So a birth chart, the way that most people look at it in a birth chart in astrology, and the way we've been taught as astrologers, is to look at it as a description of who you are. And the way I've learned to see it over the years, because I've been doing astrology for decades now, is that it's very, very much a living map, right? So it also tells the deeper story of who you are and who you are living at this time. Which identity are you embodying at any moment, in time and space? Does that make sense? It shows the patterns you inherited, the way you learn to adapt, and the places where life is asking you to continue to grow. Okay.
So it's really three perspectives actually, right?
Yeah. The way I see it as well, to put it quite plainly, is astrology can be seen in three ways. It can be looked at as it can be about the prediction, but it can also be symbolic, but it can also be participatory, right? Because we are participating with the cosmos as the planets are moving, as they are aspecting and communicating with each other. They are asking different things of us. We shouldn't just focus on the prescriptive thing, what am I supposed to be according to my birth chart? What is the personality described here? But what is the chart at any moment in time and space saying I can become? So it's this living map, this living guide. And also we must remember that when we're speaking about personality, what is personality but a series of adaptations that we've made, right? We've been told to be a certain way and we've had to adapt. When we were children, we had to adapt. We had to follow whatever guidance and rules were put there by our parents and by our caregivers and our teachers. That's adaptation, not necessarily personality. And that's what interests me when I read a chart. I'm not interested in just giving the obvious that every other astrologer that's well trained can give you. Obviously that's good that I can do that, but I'm interested in going deeper. What is the cosmos saying to you? What is unfolding right now? What is the other level here that needs to be looked at? Not just the top layer. Right? Does that make sense?
So kind of where you're going to develop towards, or like what potential do you have to develop, right?
Yes, and that's why I talk about initiation, because certain experiences like divorce, loss, burnout, midlife, relocation, moving to another country, or even changing your vocation, those are not just disruptions, right? They're thresholds. And when you're at a threshold, something unsettles this your identity, the identity that you've created for yourself. It now no longer becomes, you feel unstable, right? Uncertain. Who is trying to emerge? And
Hmm.
astrology allows you to see that. It actually, okay, this is who the astrology, this is what to do with transits, right? Who are you asking to become? Who or what parts of you are trying to emerge at that time in these moments of initiation?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
find that very interesting. And what do you say about like what identity do you need to let go of? Where you're developing towards? I work with human design mainly, but I also started implementing more and more astrology aspects. And actually, I'm going to start studying astrology because the more I hear, the more I learn myself. It's like, oh man, this is so interesting. So I really want to combine human design and astrology more to have an even more holistic view on
Yeah.
my clients. And it was so interesting to, with human design, we have also the transit. We can always see like, okay, which gate is active right now. So also each gate is active for a couple of days, and gives a different energy. Same like the planets.
Yeah.
Um, and it's very interesting to see this and to even like figure out like when you want to go back in the past to see like, okay, what happened at that time, maybe when you got divorced. So how does it show up in the astrology chart? Like, okay, Uranus maybe was active there. Uranus caused something, or, like all these occasions. And I find it's always super interesting as an explanation.
Yes.
Um, and also in a kind of way to understand, okay, like, I don't know how to say this. Like, there are higher powers and
Yeah.
there are energies and we are energy and everything is like kind of connected with each other.
Well,
And
yeah, it's what energies are being activated at that time. So a
mhm,
Uranus transit is Uranian energy being activated, right? And that's a very disruptive energy.
mhm,
so so this is the beauty of astrology, is you will then know why you are going through that. You will know the why. Okay, well, it's a Uranus transit. Okay, maybe it's your natal Uranus is opposing the Uranus in the sky, right? The transit, Uranus of opposition. You'll have the why. But what I'm saying is, what else is Uranus asking you to do at a deeper level? So now that you have
mhm,
the why, you also need to know what is required of you. Otherwise, you just have, how can I say, uh, what is transformation? Transformation to me is recognizing what is going on. If you don't recognize what is going on, you can't transform. You can't move to another level of consciousness. So astrology allows you to have the answer to why you're going through certain things, but then just sitting with that answer is not enough, which is why I'm also a certified life coach, right? Because I feel you have to guide people through that experience, through that activation. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. What to do with this information. Actually, I think I made a post about this yesterday. Yeah. I don't know if I published it yesterday already, but I will publish it today. And I also say like human design and astrologies are great tools, but they alone are not the answer. It's like, yeah, you get the information, you get the insights, but then
And
you need
then,
to exactly,
and then,
you need to go and do something with it. Otherwise,
exactly.
it's just nice.
I'm old enough, Judith, to know that when you just give people information, they do nothing with it unless they're really going through and a period of initiation where they're suffering, where there's real pain.
Mm-hmm. And that's
Then
also
they,
what implement the other tools, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
then
To
they
help.
will seek further guidance. So, I mean, I think in the future, that in psychology, for example, in the future, psychologists are all going to be astrologers, because it's that you're going to be clear on the why something is happening, but then you also know how to guide the person
Mm-hmm.
through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And it's very, I mean, like, astrology is included into the human design. So
Yeah.
they go together. So that's why I also always see this with my clients, to get to really understand yourself on a deeper level and then know how to operate based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can you
And
do with all these gifts, right? What can you do? Are you just going to be aware of your gifts and then you do nothing with
mhm.
them? And a lot
Yeah.
of people do. A lot of people do. They just, oh, apparently I'm very good at this, but they don't do anything with it, which is
Yeah.
sad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the last time when we spoke already, you told me, you just mentioned you're doing it for decades already, but actually you started with astrology when you were 10, right?
Very young.
So, yeah. So like, and you told me there was a book, right? That was about a book and that completely got you. Um, so like, when did you know that this is actually what you're gonna do, like, as your purpose now, as your business, at your path? It just, I guess, naturally developed, or did you also have like another, like an epiphany moment or something like this?
Oh, it's an interesting story. So I didn't grow up in a house of book readers. My parents didn't read books, and I loved reading. I was reading from a very young age. 5 years old, I was reading. It's a very long story, but anyway, my grandparents were Portuguese, and they insisted that I go to Portuguese school, and I was put in Portuguese school at 5, which is very young.
Uh-huh.
So I knew how to read, but we had no books. So my every year on my birthday, my godmother would give me a fairy tale, a book of fairy tales, and that was my most treasured possession. Other children would carry around teddy bears or dolls, whatever. I'd carry around my humble, treasury of fairy tales everywhere I go. Anyway, so I would I loved my fairy tales, and if a book did come into our house, I would leap on it. So there was the Bible, and I was reading the Bible as well, because my mother always had a Bible next to her bedstand or on her bedstand. And then one day, around the age of 10, maybe I was 9, maybe I was 10, but it was around that age, my mother brought home Linda Goodman. I don't know if you know Linda Goodman, but Linda Goodman was a very famous astrologer in the 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
She sold millions of books. She had many famous books, but the one that my mother brought home was Linda Goodman's Love Signs. It's a book like this, very thick.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about Aries man and Aries woman, and then she describes what will happen. Aries man and, you know what I mean, Cancer woman. And then, anyway, I found this book and devoured, loved it. the language the language spoke to me, the symbolism, this Aries the ram and Taurus the bull, and I loved that. And I mean, I was very young, it wasn't quite, obviously not quite sinking in, but I loved the language. And I understood, I think even then, that astrology is a language. At the same time, of course, I was also, this is back in the 70s, I was always outdoors. And at night, I would be sitting under the night sky, for hours, looking up at the moon, feeling very connected to the stars and the planets from a very young age. And then in high school, it was cool, to be the girl who could tell your sun sign. If my friends in school would say, oh, I was born in such and such, what sign? And I'd tell them, oh, okay, that's cool. So it was that kind of thing. But it was always like pop astrology. I didn't go into it very deeply. Then in my 20s, I certified. In my late 20s, I certified in psychological astrology. the astrology of Stephen Arroyo and all of those guys,
What
right? So,
what is the difference? Like, what is, because I was wondering when I was reading about this, I was wondering, like, what is psychological astrology? Like, what is the difference to other astrologies?
well, the difference is that psychological astrology is very much modern astrology, and we of course consider the planets, the outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. We take them into consideration. We work with them, and we understand. Also, we read the planets in a psychological way, not only in a predictive way, right? We are interested in why things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's traditional astrology, which has been around for
Forever.
centuries, since Babylonian times, right? And traditional astrology is absolutely excellent and makes a wonderful foundation. I only found traditional astrology much later in my 30s. So I kind of went into it I think it should have been the other way. I would have preferred to start off with traditional astrology to just get all the, learn from Ptolemy and all the great ancient astrologers first before moving to the modern astrologies. But anyway, I went the other way. So that my practice today combines both, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is also the thing with traditional astrology, though, is that it is very much about fate. It feels very fated, whereas psychological astrology, we believe that you are a co-creator and that not everything is fated, right? And that's been my experience as well, that you can actually change your destiny. It's been my experience. It's an ongoing, obviously, argument in this astrological community, whether or not everything is fated. I'm not a big believer in that.
This is interesting. I want to add something to that.
Yeah.
Years ago, yeah, only recently, I think I shifted my feeling about it when I heard some people, business coaches, talk about, I have my psychic and I want to see, or I can predict, da, da, da. And I was like, oh man, I don't even know if I want that. I don't even know if I want to see, like, oh, there's a hard time coming for you. And I'm like, oh man. But now I think, like, I don't know, I think I've grown also, and I know we can handle things. And also, one of my beliefs is that the universe only always gives us what we can handle. So, and now I really say, like, okay, if I look at the predictions, if I see, like, okay, the transits in the next 6 months are so and so, these kind of energies, and then there might come a time that may bring struggles, is okay. Like, then I'm like kind of mentally maybe prepared, or then I can see, like, okay, what can I do? What do I need to put in place in terms of maybe self-care, or what kind of adjustments do I need to do in my business? When you have someone in a reading, like especially maybe an entrepreneur, and they come to you and you see these, like, what is your advice? Like, when you see, like, okay, the next 6 months or in 6 months to a year, there may be a hard time. Can you give a little insight about that?
Well, first of all, I always remind them that it is a potential or probability, right? It's not
Uh-huh.
it's not
Carved in stone.
100%, right? It's just a potential or probability. But also it comes with also the person's character, and like if you are very stubborn, for example, then I think that certain aspects are going to manifest quite literally because you have to learn that lesson. But if you're someone who's more adaptable and willing to grow, and then the more challenging, gnarly aspects and transits don't impact you that badly because you're willing to go with it and learn from it, right? Like, it's definitely a perspective thing, an attitude thing. Instead of saying, why is this happening to me, you ask yourself, what is the lesson here? What should I be learning? It's that difference in attitude. So yeah, I know, many of my clients are loyal clients that keep coming to me every year, and I see them many times during the year. And then then my predictions become very accurate because I know what kind of, who they are and how they're going to react to that potential transit. But if they are willing to change their mindset and their perspective, then things develop usually in quite a good way, in a surprising or pleasant way. There's just so many layers to it, Judith. I mean, it's hard to, because sometimes the astrology can be so literal. Let me give you an example. We are recording this when Mars is in sextile to Uranus. So, Mars, Uranus, you can picture them, right? I opened the door, as I said to you this morning, and it's smoky and that. And then at the same time, coming in was a thundercloud with lightning in it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a literal, you know what I'm saying? That is literally Mars and Uranus in conversation. Because Mars is in Cancer right now. Do you see what I'm saying? Water. He's in water, all that fire energy, and Uranus is lightning. And it was just coming over the mountain here. And I thought, okay, well, do you see? That's one manifestation. It doesn't necessarily have to manifest as something bad or something, you know what I mean, violent or unexpected. Okay, it was relatively unexpected. No one was expecting the sudden thunderstorm. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't like, okay, So there's so many layers to it. I don't know if human design's the same, but in astrology, many levels of interpretation.
Human design is also very deep, and it's also like always taken off the layers of the onion, I say. But it's interesting what you said about the adaptability. This is definitely something I can see in the human design chart as well, especially in the profiles. So we have, in human design, 6 lines. And for example, the 3rd line is the most flexible line, which I have in my profile. I have a 3-5 profile. So I'm very flexible, very adaptable. And I'm like, okay, plans change. Okay. So we adapt and do new.
A good quality.
But then there's the 4th line, and people who have a 4th line. So the 4th line is the most fixed line. So for them, it's really difficult when they made a plan and the plan doesn't work out, or then something comes up and they need to change the plan. It's like, fuck, I did not plan that. And they have really a harder time to adjust.
I know all about it. I have a lot of fixed energy. So
also that is we have that in the whole chart. I mean, we have all 6 lines in our human design chart because we have a lot of gates, and every gate comes with a line. So, and then some people have more of a 4 line in the chart, and other people have less. But especially the profile lines, they are very, I would say, like very dominant in the way of how do we perceive life, or how do we go about life?
Yeah.
I'm getting an info. My battery is low. How does that work? I don't see that here. No, it's fine. I have 20%. That's good. So let me see what kind of question I wrote down that I also wanted to ask you. When it comes to the tools that you use, the somatic awareness and the Kabbalistic soul mapping, like, how did it happen that you came across them and you started to implement them?
I don't know if there was a point where how can I say, I don't know if there was a point that I was aware that I was working with them. I mean, I think when you have to do the marketing and describing yourself on the internet, then you obviously have to list them. But I don't think there was a point where I thought, I'm using Kabbalah here to work through this or interpret this. Kabbalah is also a map. It's also a map. It's interesting that both of them are maps. Astrology is a map, and the Kabbalistic tree of life is a map. So to me, it just feels natural that they fit together. I'm also, by the way, a certified tarot reader. So Kabbalah is a natural thing. The 22 parts in Kabbalah correspond with the 22 major arcana in the tarot. So this is all, I've been doing it for years and years. So there wasn't a point where I thought, okay, this is I'm going to start doing it now. I've always been doing it. I think that it's just that obviously for social media and online purposes, I had to actually type that in. But yeah, Kabbalah is interesting. I tried to really understand it in my 20s, and it didn't quite work out. They do say that Kabbalah, some teachers say you should be in your 40s before you start studying it. For me, it was very much that. But then I am a late bloomer, by the way. I have Saturn in the 4th house. I'm a late bloomer, Saturn in Taurus in the 4th house. So learning Kabbalah came to me, or I understood it in my 40s and onwards, right? Although I was working with it much younger. I mean, I've been doing tarot for many, many years as well. So, yeah, I don't think there was a point where I really realized that it's just been part of the system that I use. Yeah.
And then it just naturally developed that you also implemented with clients, I guess, right?
Yeah, and then I'll drop in some sort of Kabbalistic, truth or wisdom there, but not often. It depends on my clients, right? Some of them are into it, others don't know about it. It's
I wrote down something here that I also wanted to ask you about the midlife, because apparently the midlife, we also have planetary returns there. That's why we have like the midlife crisis around our 40th birthday, beginning of 40, like where I am actually right now.
The Uranus opposition, yeah.
Uranus opposition, okay, yeah, exactly. Halfway, right?
It's a tough
one. So
Uranus opposition, Uranus opposition, you tend to completely you tend to completely change your life around the time of your Uranus opposition. I find that time and time again. Many people either leave their partners, so there's either a sudden divorce or separation, or they move to a different country, or they completely change their careers. And for those who don't do any of that during their Uranus opposition, but they do become aware that something has shifted, then when their Chiron returns, so Chiron, the wounded healer, when your Chiron returns around the age of 50, then that's when things get very interesting.
So if you haven't dealt with that,
if you haven't dealt with your Uranus opposition, if you haven't been true to yourself, in other words, if you haven't committed to the identity, the true identity that it's trying to emerge around the time of Uranus opposition, then around the age of 49, 50, you are asked to revisit it for sure. But it becomes even more painful. You see, I'm sure you've experienced this. The Uranus opposition demands authenticity at all costs. Like you have to be true to yourself.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I mean, I just turned 43. And the other day when I was in a call of this tool that I'm going to start using that combines human design with astrology, we also talked about the Saturn return. That's around the 30th birthday. Yeah. And there it also says like that somehow your life will also change. And I was like, okay, what happened there? Yes, of course, my life changed because I got married when I was 30. And I mean, a few years before already, I quit my professional sports career, but there was a complete new stage of my life. I got married.
Yeah.
And then last year in summer, I was already 42. I got divorced.
Yeah.
So that's pretty accurate when it comes to that. It doesn't mean that everybody has to get married with 30 and get divorced with 42, of course, but that was just in my case. And now when it comes to authenticity, this is my business. That's what I help my clients with, to really be authentic. Like, who are you and how do you put yourself out there? And of course, I'm asking myself the same. And I've been going through a lot of, again, like self-inspection. I really want to call it like this. And self-development. Yeah. To like really, really things change energetically also in human design. We enter a new incarnation cross next year. The 400 years of being in the cross of the planning ends, which is a super heavy and slow energy. And now we're gonna move into the year of the incarnation cross, the next 400 years of the Phoenix, the rising Phoenix, or the sleeping Phoenix. And it's all about individuality and authenticity. And it's really, we always experience these transition phases because, also it's not like, okay, date X and then everything happens. No, we have a before and we have an after. And I can really feel this transitioning phase right now. And I see it also on Instagram. I see how a lot of creators and especially moms in their 30, around the 40s are like, oh God, I'm career confused. What do I need to do? I need to pivot now. And they start showing up and trying to show up in an authentic way. It's really interesting to see this whole development.
I cannot wait for, like I say, I'm not an expert on human design, but cannot wait for next year, 2027, Sleeping Phoenix. I cannot wait for that. Because I'm already aware of it astrologically. Something has shifted. Of course, we've had many major important transits this year, major ones, as you know, with Saturn moving into Aries and Neptune in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius. It's a very transformational time that we're living in. So I'm really, really looking forward to what's coming up over the next few months and into 2027. But I agree with you 100%. If you are not showing up authentically, you are not going to make it business-wise. You have to be 100% yourself, because what's happening is we've all shifted. Well, not everyone, but those of us who are conscious, or let's say awake, now read people's energies. So we are attracted to another person's energy now, not so much their words. So all that wonderful copywriting that AI now does for you, we're seeing right through it. People are seeing right through it. And how we are now connecting with people are energetically. So if you are not coming out, if you're not being truthful to who you are, if you're not being authentic, you're not going to be as successful as you could be. And I think when I spoke about this, Judith, you can see it already online. You can pick it up. That people who are trying too hard are not making it.
No. And you know what I realized also, what I found super interesting? We had a boom of AI at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Like Instagram was flooded. Exactly. From ChatGPT, now we use Claude, and everywhere all over was Claude. And now it's the opposite. Like now it's like people are realizing and I'm actually super proud of us humans, like how quickly we realize, like, no, that is not the way.
No.
Because then everybody sounds the same and we're losing ourselves. And I realized that too. Of course I use that too. And I work with AI, but I help it to get to get my brain structured, to get all the ideas to get inspiration, because I'm a manifesting generator. So in human design, we generator types, we need an outside inspiration to respond to. And that is, I use it as my sparring partner to see like, okay, yes, I respond to this. Or then I get an idea for, okay, this could be a reel about this or a carousel about that and the caption like this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I don't want to write it like this. And then go ahead and I rewrite it in my own words, with my own style, because I need to put my spin on it. I just can't put it out there because that feels so wrong. Yeah. And I'm happy to see that more and more creators now also realize that and actually go back. And I even saw, like, the other day, one of my human design colleagues, she said, like, I have an anti-IA policy in my business. So this is super interesting to see this development of, yes, we use AI, but how do we use it and what do we use it for?
No, people are picking up on it. People energetically, they even those people who, and I don't know how many are there now that actually aren't using AI, but even those who do not access AI are not falling for that dead language, because if AI language is dead, soulless, it has no soul in it. So that's why I'm saying people have to become more visible, have to show up on podcasts and YouTube, because what's happening now is people are picking up on your energy. They're reading you from your energy. What are you putting out there? Not so much. They're not trusting your words anymore so much, but in what you are putting out there. What are you choosing to share, right? Remember, Uranus is traveling through Gemini. What are you sharing? What information are you putting out there? What are you teaching? What are you giving? And I just want to say as well, it's interesting to me that Uranus in Gemini has been interpreted, and it's correctly interpreted, that Uranus in Gemini is about the AI technology, AI revolution, all of that. Yes, yes. But it's interesting to me that when Uranus went through Taurus for 7 years, now think back now 7 years, I don't know if you noticed how everyone was into growing their own herbs and into natural medicine. Did you notice that everyone was into natural medicine and
like
making their own tinctures and their own little, natural perfumes and their natural face? All of this while Uranus was going through Taurus.
Interesting.
I can tell you what's happening with Uranus in Gemini is we're going to go back to books and back to magazines. We're going to go back to actually purchasing real books written by people who actually write their books. And we're going to purchase magazines by small creators. I don't know if you know this, but more and more people are creating their own little magazines, their own e-zines, right? And people are purchasing that because we want to connect with the person. Gemini energy, one-on-one. I want to know more about you. So it's interesting. See, that's Uranus.
So how long is Uranus going to be in Gemini? Like until when?
7 years. So he moved in this year, 2033. My maths is terrible. 2033, I think. Yeah. I mean, I can.
Okay.
But you'll notice what I'm saying. Yeah. Let's check it.
Yeah.
But if you think back, did you see how everyone was into having little herb gardens, which is wonderful. I still, I also have one, but everyone was into that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that.
Okay, Uranus. Yeah, I think it's around.
Just as a little funny anecdote here, when I talk to my son, like sometimes we have these conversations, like when he wants to have some Oreo cookies, for example, I'm like, no, I'm not buying you that shit. and then we start to talk about what's in there, what it does to the body, and blah blah blah. And then he's like, "Oh, mom, you're such a hippie."
Very much you. Anyway, 2033. Yeah. So Uranus in Gemini 2033. So you're going to see we're going to go back to really valuing books written by people, which is why people are buying books, classic books, right? Written by, authors like Jane Austen, etc. All these classics, because people know it wasn't written by AI. It's sad. Yeah. It's sad, but we need to get back to doing our own writing, our own thinking. But I do understand because I'm also a generator, Judith. I think I'm a generator, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand what you're saying about this need to respond, and AI kind of assists you with that. I just don't trust AI to do astrology, and especially not the way I do it.
Yeah. No, I say the same with human design. I always say, like, of course you can get information on AI, but first of all, because I've tested it, of course, first of all, they can also be completely wrong.
Yeah, very wrong.
Yeah. And I was very surprised because we're like, hey, it's AI, it's supposed to know it. Yeah, but AI also does do mistakes. And they even say it, we make errors. There's this disclaimer. So first of all, and then... Yes. I have this. Somewhere it says like don't 100% trust me. I can also make errors. Like I'm just a human. Like
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they say that. So, and I always say, like, if you really want to know more about your human design or your astrology, go to a reader. Because you can find a lot on the internet. You can Google it, go back to classic Google. You find a lot. There are a lot of blog posts out there where you can, dive into certain aspects. But the thing that we can do is we can connect things with each other. We see the bigger picture. We Like I also read the energy of my clients and I know the business of my clients and I can really connect all of this and I can then put my brain, my practical experience that I have, my perspective on it, and that you can't find on Google or AI.
Exactly. And you mentioned something that's so important there. It's the ability to relate to another person's experience. ChatGPT or whatever, or Claude, I don't know, but I don't think they can. I don't think they can relate to your emotional experience, the emotions that were, you know what I mean, that you felt during a certain experience. There's no value to it, right? So that's why you need to connect with another human when it comes to things like this, because we are in a position where we can say, well, I went through this. Or if you didn't personally go through this, you may know a client who went through a similar thing and how they navigated through it, right?
Exactly. Or we can see, like with my clients, and that's also where, especially human design, I don't know how, I think on the astrology part, you probably can't really see that, but in human design, what you can see is like, where do you have developed conditioned non-self patterns, what we talked about in the beginning. Because you have your personality and human design is like, okay, the personality side is on the day or in the moment where you were born, and your unconscious side, your body, is 88 days before. And that goes together. So we have this innate personality side and how is our body doing things, but then we develop conditioned behavior.
Yes.
And there I can see with my clients, like, okay, look, there you're living in a conditioned behavior, and then I can help them to make a perspective shift and to give them some tools or some homework that they can do to get more clear about that, and then to really start deconditioning and coming back to themselves. Of course, that also takes time and practice, but this is also something that we humans can do, and that's what we are there for.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
I think you and I are similar though, in that we both value the connection. I love my clients. I love the connection.
Yeah. And also, because people were talking about this, like people close to me, but I think also on the internet, I saw it like how dangerous it is now with AI and where are we heading with this. And I always said, like, you know what? I'm actually not afraid that we humans will turn into zombies, because I know we humans need connection. We need human connection. We need emotional connection that AI can't give us. And so I'm not concerned that we will completely isolate in the future, because it may be a period of time, like what we experience now, the last couple of months, like it was such a hype. And now people are like realizing, no, we need to go back to who are we? What do we actually have to say? And how do we actually say it and then share it? So yeah, and that is interesting for me to see. And I shared this with the client the other day also. Because we were talking, like figuring out like what is he going to do in his future business, because he has so many possibilities and he's like, I have no idea what I should focus on. So I help him get some orientation in this. And we talked about coaching as well, and that he also potentially coaches men. And I share with him, like from the Feng Shui point of view right now, which is about the energy on the earth. Astrology is the energy that we get from the sky, and then the Feng Shui is the energy on the earth. So we are in period 9 right now. So since February 2024 already, and for the next 18 and a half years now. And this is all about healing and helping humanity reconnect with themselves, to reconnect with their heart, reconnect with their third eye. The man can heal their hurt feminine wound. So in period 1 that comes next, they can really be the man that they're supposed to be, to hold the space for us women again. And it's always so interesting when you see all these things and you connect them with each other. Is first of all, it gives me a lot of hope. And it's just like with the work that I do and the work that you do, it's just so interesting to know this and then to observe what's actually happening.
I think we're living in very exciting times. I mean, I'm not feeling afraid of it. I know people are afraid and thinking, the worst is on its way. I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
So,
no.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, what is like one last thing that you would like to have especially a businesswoman walk away with from our conversation today?
Well, I think we touched on it. I think it's most important that they connect with their true self when designing their business, or when thinking about creating or starting their own business or being out there, but also show up as their authentic self, and not to feel like they have to pretend to be someone else, because those days are over. We've all seen that. We've seen what it was like. It's that those days are very much over. You have to show up very much yourself. Don't be afraid to follow your curiosity, your passions. Don't be afraid to mix them all up like I have. I mean, my work is I just, everything that I'm fascinated by and that I love, I just share it and I combine it. And it just creates this beautiful, whatever resonance that I share with my clients. It's obviously not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. But you're going to find, if you start doing that, if you combine your passions, and you don't have to, not everyone is a what do they call them? Multi-talented,
Multi-passionate.
multi-passionate. Yeah. Not everyone's like that. I'm just like it. I'm an Aquarius rising. I go down many rabbit holes. But once you combine and you share it, and people can pick up on that love, and they will. It does take time, because to build trust takes time. It does take time. So people must also be patient. Be patient. Do know that your time is coming. It will come. And then you cannot actually fail once you do that, because the universe supports authentic self-expression. Believe me, 100%. If you are truly yourself, and the universe will support you. I'm sure, Judith, you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, what I was just thinking about that I would like to share as the last little nugget here is that I remember the time when the content, or when the content, let's say the Instagram content and the Instagram profiles were really just focused on business. Like, this is my topic and I only post about that. These times are also over. I realized I went through that, because there was a time I was like, oh, I need to post more of that. And then I posted more of that and I was like, man, but this is also so boring. And now I'm getting back to also, okay, what are all the different parts that I can share that are interesting for my followers also to see? And I mean, I live in Costa Rica, and here every day something is going on. We live in the jungle. We live in extreme climate. Every day something is going on. Yeah. So I really thought, and this is also what I want to share, like, so when you build your business, don't only post business topics. Really think about, okay, what are the different areas of your life that you love? So yes, it could be motherhood, but then also like daily lives. Or if you love to go dancing, I don't know, share about that. So to have a variety of content pillars, so that people can really get a better idea of who are you as a person, not just as a business owner.
Yeah.
That's why I posted the video.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why I posted the video yesterday about me dancing in the kitchen while I was making meatballs, because we listened to Mexican music and this is one of my favorite songs. And my daughter made this video and I was like, I'm going to post that video, because this is one part of me. Even though my partner, when I sent him the video, was like, oh my gosh, the kitchen looks so messy. I hate it. I was like, I don't care. But I love this video of me dancing in the kitchen, and I just want to share this vibe with my followers because this is part of me. So I'm going to post it no matter how messy the kitchen looks. So I think this is part of authenticity as well, right?
I love that. Yeah.
So
and also I think another thing that we can share is you don't have to have a name for what you are feeling or trying to experience, because how can I put it? You don't have to name whatever you're going through. If you're going through a period of confusion, for example, do know that something is going on beneath the surface. that something is going on, and that you don't need to have a name for everything that you're going through. Because people come to me often saying, well, I'm confused about, like you say, the direction I should be following, or what should my next step be. And sure, astrology can definitely show you what your next step should be, but you should also say to yourself, believe and trust that the universe is bringing something else in the meantime, is doing something else to you or for you that is going to help form this bigger picture, right? Create something that is going to be needed in order for you to move forward, right? Nothing is unnecessary in your life experience. Nothing. Like, I've had so many different careers and jobs. All of them have actually led me to this point. All of them. When I think back to I say, oh, wow, that explains why. You know what I'm saying? Every single job, every experience, it all means something, and it's all valuable. So yeah, people mustn't try to name their confusion or to name their problem. Just sit with it a while, know that something else is going on for you in your favor.
Yes, exactly. And also, you need to remember that only when we have chaos, we can create something new. Out of stability, we can't create something new. So really welcome the chaos. Surrender to the chaos.
Because something is going on for you.
Exactly. And actually, I want to share one last quote that I heard. It's actually the founder of the school of my son here. And there's a school in the middle of the jungle. It's an unschooling project, actually. And she shared one day, and she said, like, if you have no idea what else to do in your life right now, focus on yourself and do how do you say it? Like when you do workout and, I'm missing the word right now. Self-care. No, self-care.
Oh, self-care. Yes.
So, yeah. If you don't know what else to do, what direction to move to in your life, focus on self-care.
Yeah.
So,
and move your body, dance. No, really, movement. Movement's always the answer to whatever's bringing you down. Just movement. Yeah. Dance, walk, run.
To move the energy, to get it.
Move the energy around. Yeah. Especially if you're feeling like your life's not moving, or you're feeling stagnant. You know what I mean? Like nothing's happening. Just move your body. Things start shifting.
Interesting. See, so I will continue to dance in the kitchen while making meatballs.
I'm sure you felt better afterwards. Like, things are...
Oh, I felt amazing while... Okay, thank you so much, Yolanda. That was a beautiful conversation again. I hope our listeners also got a couple of insights or nuggets. And also, like, if you're listening to this right now and you're thinking like, okay, I want to know more, I want to go deeper in the astrology, then reach out to Yolanda. If you want to go more into human design, branding, business building, reach out to me. I will link everything in the show notes. And also, if you like this episode, then leave me a 5-star review on Spotify, because that will help for the podcast to be found from more women. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Judith.